Fell. Well. Welcome to Dragon Intuitive Connections. Dragonfly Intuitive Connections. Thank you. I don't know. I was late. I had to make sure I had my hair done, so that's why we late. Blame it on me. I am
It's
JoJo Dennis
okay.
with the mystical Cheryl First.
Hi.
So today I have some questions for Cheryl, just 5, so we're not going to keep you long. But we have a contest today. And you can ask Cheryl any question you like. I'm going to provide an email address, and I'm going to pick one person. We're just going to have one winner. So if you have a question about the past, the future, or whatever, Cheryl's going to answer that question. Just directed to Dragonfly Intuitive Connections at Hotmail. That email address is Dragonfly Intuitive Connections at Hotmail. That's where you want to send your question. So send your question now, because once we're done with my little Q&A, then I will pick a winner. Cheryl will answer the question. Are we ready? Let's get started. Woo-woo. So, Cheryl, before we get into the questions, how are you doing today?
I have a wicked headache. I had a very long day because it's the last day of the month. I had a lot of work I had to get done. So I'm a little under the weather, but I'm going to do my best.
And we all know I
But
was
that's
running
okay
late.
because
So.
that's how it happens, I mean, it just happens. We have days that we don't have the greatest of days, but that's okay. I'm here for you guys.
That's right. So are you ready, Cheryl,
I
for your
am.
first question?
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. How does a psychic know they are, in fact, a psychic?
Generally, what happens is when you start having a lot of different thoughts, messages, things that aren't for you. So they're kind of thoughts, ideas, and kind of like messages and things. It's hard to describe. Um, Sometimes it's that that something's about to happen, but you don't understand where you really got this information from. And so when you start exploring that, or it starts happening more and more and more, you start figuring out, oh, maybe I'm psychic. And so when you start talking with people, you kind of start playing a little bit with your friends and things and saying, okay, I think I might be psychic. So let's do a little bit of talking. Let's talk. And let me see if I pick up on something from you.
Oh.
And so let's see if I can tell you something about yourself. And that's how you just kind of discover it. But at the same time, for me, it started when I was 7 years old, and my grandfather, who had been living with us, had gone over to Ireland to visit some friends and family, and he passed away there unexpectedly. And I was outside playing, and I saw my grandfather. And so I ran home crying because I didn't understand that at 7 years old. You don't understand that kind of a thing when you see spirit, when you see someone after they've passed away. And I went home crying, and my mother said, that wasn't Grandpa that you saw because Grandpa died in Ireland. And so I kind of shut it down, because that's what happens with children. And then as an adult, I kept being able to I would get feelings that there would be an accident at an intersection or something. And a couple weeks later, it would happen. Um, and just things like that. I would be able to tell that, somebody was about to fall or something like that. And so I knew that I was getting messages.
Okay, so now this isn't a part of my official questions. I just wanted to ask, it's just really off the top of my head. How long did it take you to kind of perfect, or did you train, or how did you enhance your abilities?
There's no perfecting it and there's no enhancing it really. It's just, you kind of just jump in and go. You just kind of jump and go with it. So you have to figure this way. So if you're going to start, I always say it, nurturing. I'm going to nurture this ability.
Mm-hmm.
And some people will say it's a gift, and some people say it's far from a gift, because some people it really aggravates them to have these abilities. Um,
I can see that.
and so, you just you kind of go with it, and just, decide, I'm going to go with this, I'm going to work with this, or I'm going to shut it down. So you make that choice. And so, but you have to learn how to control it, because if you don't control it, you would have spirit constantly bombarding you.
Oh.
And then sometimes when you find, you'll get messages sometimes and you don't know who they belong to.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if that happens, I will post it and say, hey, I've got this message and I don't know who it belongs to. Can anybody, does this resonate with anybody? I haven't had that happen in quite a while. I'm usually able to, you know, figure out who it belongs to right away. So it's not something that you really practice it, or you try to increase it or anything. It just happens. It just happens.
It just happens.
It just
You
happens.
heard it here.
And it happens sometimes when you want it to. And you worked in a nursing home, and my first day there were spirits that just kept going by my office and kept going by my office, and I had to keep telling them, not now, not now, not now. This isn't the time or the place.
Well, Cheryl, can I ask you something? Because you just said you see them going by your office. So do you see them, or do you see shadows? How do you know you see a spirit?
Sometimes you see a shadow. Sometimes you just see like a vision. That is another one that's really hard to describe. So it's almost like, think about it what you have a thought in your mind. Okay. So you've got a thought in your mind, and say you're thinking about somebody in your mind. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you seeing them in your mind? You're not seeing them as if you see them, like I'm seeing you.
Right. Like the physical
next to me.
presence.
Okay. Right. So but what they kind of look like. You get an idea. And most of these spirits, I don't know what they look like. I have no idea. I have no idea what they looked like before. But sometimes it's almost like it's a feeling. But so sometimes it's just a feeling, and you kind of just are like, I can just feel it. I can just feel it.
Right.
I can sense it, and sometimes I start getting like outlines of people. So it's kind of like that, almost like a movie, maybe like a movie, maybe it's like a vision. Movie. But then at the same time, sometimes I see shadow. And so
clutching my pearls.
I've looked out the window and I've seen shadows entering my neighbors' houses.
Now, do you call them?
No.
Because they wouldn't see them anyway.
Well, not only that, for some people that's terrifying. But I've seen it. I've seen it, and I'm like, oh, they're going to get a visit. My ring on my phone has picked up
video.
Yes, I've shown it to you.
She has.
But I'm like, oh, look at this.
And
down this, a couple doors away. I'm like, look at that running across the street.
Yes.
I've seen, I looked one day, I saw in my neighbor's house right across the street from me, and I'm like, oh, look at that. And I said something to her, and she goes, oh no, Cheryl, there was nobody home. And I'm like, oh, but there was.
Oh,
but there was.
You had an uninvited guest, honey.
Okay. Woo! We won't go there because they aren't really believers. So
okay.
Hey, we won't do it.
So, Cheryl, I just want to drop that email one more time for our contest.
Come on, we need questions.
Listen, we need some questions, y'all. Remember, the email address is dragonflyintuitiveconnections@hotmail.com. Send your question. Maybe Cheryl gets to answer it. We'll see. Question number 2. How do you personally give or do a reading on somebody? Now, what does that, like, what do you do when somebody sits in and say, you know what, I want to have a reading? How does it work for you, the
So
vessel?
so when someone comes to me for a reading, I never know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be me just kind of reading their energy, and if it's going to be something from their past, something current, or something future, or if spirit pops in. I never know about
Mm.
that because as far as like that's a mediumship. Mediumship is like when spirit comes in and says, someone that's passed away, that they've lost a lost one, a lost loved one. Um, and that's spirit choice. I can't, we can always try to connect with a certain person, but that doesn't always work because sometimes it's a different person that they wanted to contact with. But um, so I really never know what's going to happen. So really, it just start um, focusing on the person that's in front of me and
Okay.
just start sharing what I receive because whatever I receive is not for me, it is for them.
Okay. So that was question number 2. Now we're about to head to question number 3. I want to drop that email address one more time. Send your questions to Dragonfly Intuitive Connections at hotmail.com. So question number 3, Cheryl. Is there any information that you've ever received that you didn't quite feel comfortable sharing with your client?
Um, Sometimes, sometimes that does happen, but you just have to figure out a way to share it gently
Okay.
or kind of work around it. Like you're never going to tell anybody. So we're not doctors. We are not doctors. We don't diagnose. We do not know if anybody is really what we're picking up is 100%, okay, as far as when it's healthcare.
Okay.
And so generally what you do is like what I usually say is I'll say, are you up to date on your checkups, on your exams? Maybe you want to ask the doctor to check this or check that, or you might want to, if you haven't been having your exams, you might want to get a checkup. But things like if I see somebody falling and something like that, I will share that. I will say, winter's coming. You want to be careful with slipping on the ice. Make sure you do this. And sometimes it will even be about a loved one that I can pick up from that it's a loved one that's actually going to fall that could even actually be in another state, but I can just tell because I've done that before. I've been at events and I'll say to a woman, your husband might take a fall this winter. So you want to share with him that he really must be very careful with his footing.
Cheryl, I'd like to share a story. Now, mind you, audience, I really don't share a lot of personal things about myself and my business.
I can tell you all kinds of stories. Maybe we'll do that with a video. Some of my stories.
Yeah, we could. I want to share a story with Cheryl, though. I had a guest in my home. And for whatever reason, I had to call Cheryl. And I called you, or you called me. Something happened where I called Cheryl. And remember, she received a message from my mother, who is deceased. God rest her soul. But I'm sure she's right here with me. But
always.
Yes. So Cheryl told me that my mom told her that I was going to trip. But whatever I was focusing on at that moment was that was the message. And so I'm not going to really get into much about the message, but I did tell Cheryl to tell my mother, no, I'm literally going to fall, because the thing was, it was a trip. I didn't trip. I said, no, I'm clumsy. I got butterfingers. So I'm not going to trip. I'm going to fall. And I fell. But the important thing was I remembered what I was thinking about as I tripped and then fell on ice skates. And that right there was very crucial because the person that was in my house was not good for me. And thank you, Jesus, they got on out. So thank you, Cheryl.
That was an actual person visitor. That was
No, that was a human.
That wasn't a spirit.
It was a physical body.
It was not a visit. That was not a visit of a spirit.
No, that was an actual person. That was an actual. And my mom was warning me about this individual.
Person, yes.
They did not have good intentions for me.
Exactly.
And she let me know. Thank you, Mom. I love you so much. Cheryl, are you ready for question number 4?
Sure.
Have you ever had an unusual experience doing a reading?
A lot. So, I mean, unusual?
Well, what was the most just abnormal? It's like, you didn't think that the reading was going to take that direction, but it just was like, oh, wow. Did you ever have one of those moments?
I've had several, but I never know what direction they're going to go in. I mean, I told a young man one time that there was going to be a young girl in his future that her goal was to get pregnant, and that if he continued with that relationship and didn't take the protection that he needed to, and she got pregnant and had a baby, he would not get his goals. He would not accomplish his goals. And at the end of the reading, he told me he was 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
I had another reading where a woman wanted desperately to contact with her mother. It ended up being her father, it ended up being her father who she did not want to contact with.
Oh.
But he had lots of information to give her. Ended up being that the two of them ended up on much better terms. And she ended up loving her father and having compassion, even though when he died, she hated him.
Well, that was
so I never know.
Experience.
But he stayed with me for a week.
Oh.
Went back and forth to me with work. Sat on my desk and talked to me and everything for a week, and I had to keep telling him that he needed to stop. We have to check also.
Your phone is right.
I know it is, but
you don't want to pause the video?
No.
Okay. So,
although it's odd that I keep getting a phone call.
Is that weird? Do you want to check it? Do you want to pause it? I think we should. Do you want to?
I better.
All right, we're going to just take a quick pause. Now, listen, Cheryl has some things to take care of. So, please send your questions to dragonflyintuitiveconnections@hotmail.com. Cheryl wants to answer a question for you. We're just going to pause. I don't know how to pause it. I don't think I can pause it. So, anyway, I'm just going to sit down. Ooh. Hello. Cheryl has helped me a lot with some spiritual experiences. I don't want to say paranormal is more like it. Just one. But I don't know how to pause the video, so I'm just going to sit here and just entertain you guys. So, I'm JoJo Dennis, and I'm here with Cheryl, but she's not here. Dragonfly Intuitive Connections. Check out the website. I know Cheryl offers readings. I did a foot detox. She does Reiki. She has tuning forks. She does frequency healing. She has pendulums. She has all type of stuff and so many crystals and things like that.
Excuse me,
and Cheryl has returned.
Okay. But we can also look to see if anybody messages came from my junk email, because
Oh,
sometimes it'll go into there for it's not a number that that my computer
all right.
recognizes.
So what we're gonna do, I think we should just answer the last question, and while you're answering that, I'm gonna try to see if we have any
Sounds
emails.
great.
So, Cheryl, question number 5. What was your most enjoyable reading experience? Oh, wait, and let me add a little subsection. And did you ever actually cry or get truly
Oh,
emotional from a reading?
I have cried often during a reading because it gets very emotional for a lot of my clients, and so therefore the emotions come out with me also. Um, Enjoyable. Oh, there's been many, so I can't really say that there's one in particular. I just I have to say that it's very enjoyable when people do get loving messages from their lost loved ones, and they know that their loved ones are fine and that they are, with them still. It's just so much fun. I really thoroughly enjoy giving readings, and quite often they end up being a little bit of a counseling session too sometimes, because if that's what's needed, that's what's needed.
Okay.
Well, okay, that's okay. Nobody has reached out for any questions, which is okay.
It's probably because I'm late. Just blame it on me.
But that's okay, because one of the videos I'd like to maybe set it up so people can send questions.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you? I actually just had an idea. Cheryl, people can watch this video and we'll just have you answer the question next time. Send your questions,
Which we can do that. So
and then
I've got some idea. We've got some ideas for future videos.
yes, we do.
I'd like to do one on moon water. Maybe moon water is going to be split into two, because there's quite a bit of information to share about moon water. And then I'd like to do a one where I'm answering your questions. So I'd like to do
Woo,
that. And
that would
then
be awesome.
we talked about, we came up with the idea during this of that maybe I will tell some of the stories of some of the readings that I've given. Of course, there'll be no personal information given because I don't do that.
No personal
But just to give
info.
you some ideas of validations, there certainly has been a lot of validations that I've given a lot of people. So that's another idea of different videos. And certainly, if you have any ideas of videos you'd like to see or that you'd like to hear more information about, please let us know. We're pretty open, and we still plan on doing this every 2 weeks. And so that's fun thing, fun way to do. We'd like to see what you'd like to know of everything that I do.
Yes, and I shared your services with them.
Okay.
Who wants right off the top of my head?
Well, she's opening up herself into some of her abilities and her interests and
Listen,
things too.
I make some good educated guesses.
So, well, some people don't like to admit right away that they have some abilities.
I don't know.
Just saying.
I sometimes
just saying.
I feel comfortable saying
and
this.
I'm still looking for an apprentice.
She's looking for an apprentice. Sometimes I just know stuff. That's it. Since I was little, I just know stuff. I don't think I'm a psychic. I just know some stuff.
So one of these times I will, if anybody has an interest of being an apprentice, you can also contact me about that too. And what that means.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite an opportunity for somebody that's very serious about learning.
I personally feel like Cheryl's trying to give me the little nudge. I've actually considered it, but I haven't made a decision just yet. You know, I'm getting my feet wet, dipping my toes in the little metaphysical pool. Just a little hint of my personality, just so you know. You don't know. So you know.
Well, I think that you would get into it a little bit even more. That you'd like it. I think you really think you'd like it. You are liking all of this so far. So, but we need to cut this video.
So
Don't want to have it too long.
Yes, we don't. So I'm gonna do the final word because I'm the host and you're the guest of honor. So would you like to say anything before I do a closing out?
Nope, I'm all set. I look forward to hearing from everyone.
Great. So thank you guys for watching Dragonfly Intuitive Connections. Listen, seriously, we want you to like this video. We want you to share it. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe. We need to go live on YouTube.
So we can go live on YouTube.
She needs those 50 subscribers. It doesn't cost you any money. It's free. Hook her up.
And we have fun.
Support. And guess what? I will say this. Let me have a seat. I'm a little bit dramatic sometimes. Just my personality.
I'm a queen.
Send your questions to dragonflyintuitiveconnections@hotmail.com. And the next time Cheryl does her video, she will answer 1, 2, 3 questions. Are you okay with 3?
Sure. I mean, we can have the next one being questions.
Listen, we can do that if we have over
5.
Oh, no, we need more than that. If we have 10 questions, then we'll just do a segment with answering the 10 questions. Or we could work in the moon
Well,
water.
10 questions might be too long.
You can give
We'll
10.
See.
We'll see. She's going to look and pick them out, and we'll see like that, okay? So
maybe we'll do it twice.
Who knows?
We're open.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
See you soon.
Woo-woo.
Bye. What the heck was that?
I don't know.